Meeting to order. Scituate Board of Directors, Council on Aging, 5:39 PM on Thursday, the 9th of
Somebody taking notes?
December, that was my next question after we did introductions. Who's it? Okay, Susan, awesome.
Thank you.
So we'll just do a quick round of intros here. I'm J.D. Miller, Chair of the Board.
Susan Drevich Kelly, Vice Chair of the Board.
Russ Paul, new board member.
Dee Dwyer, board member.
Elaine Shambari, COA's liaison for FOSS.
Laurie Brady, board member. Leslie James, board member.
Susan Pope, board member.
Pat Calvin, board member.
Erica Soares, Manager of Social Services for Scituate.
Welcome,
Happy
Erica.
Erica. Linda Kelly, Director of the Senior Center.
So Susan's gonna be our secretary this evening, and so I'm not sure if everybody had a chance to take a look at your minutes that was sent online, but
So if we need to wait for printed copies, they may be done momentarily, and I can.
They were-
We'll let that-
they were extensive, Dee, thank you.
What?
It was all jet lag.
They were,
I
they were,
arrived just hours
They
before.
were very detailed and extensive. Thank you very much.
I mean, I'm gonna guess they're probably done, if you wanna put that.
Linda, when we didn't have anybody assigned as secretary, you said it could be as detailed, as brief as we wanted, right?
Mhm.
There's no reason that it has to be.
So we would say it doesn't have to be every word. If someone were taking notes, it doesn't, certainly it can be kind of the broad strokes.
Yeah.
Or if there's a resource, some people have looked back at the video and then done the minutes from there if we didn't have somebody at the meeting. And so just saying it could,
Yeah.
sometimes that might be more detailed. It's totally up to the note taker or secretary. As long as the gist of it and it follows the agenda.
Yeah, summary.
Mm-hmm.
Generally.
Sorry about the evening weather for everybody coming, so we're lucky to have Erica here with us.
Do you need to get out of here?
No,
Okay,
no.
okay. Well, then we'll stick with our agenda and wait for minutes and then move to London.
I did not hear from Karen, so I don't.
Yeah, I didn't either.
She was in Ireland, maybe she's still in Ireland. And there was a Board of Selectmen
Susan's
meeting.
got them.
Pardon?
Susan has them. Susan has,
The minutes. You can, I didn't get them
Jane,
yet,
you have one?
Yeah, I was making, yeah, that's fine.
but there was a select board meeting last night, which was, I think, probably a big one. I don't know how late it went, and I didn't watch it, but we could still watch it. If someone was interested, they could go back and watch it, because it was the town administrator's budget presentation to the select board before each of the departments goes and
Anybody
gives
want-
their own presentation, so it could have been interesting, but I didn't see it. Well, I know. I know what it says.
May
No,
9th, interesting.
Well, but as far as some discussion,
Right.
we decided to wait.
Yeah.
I too.
So we're gonna take a look at your minutes as they come around. I did look at it online. They were very detailed. We've got a copy here.
I reviewed.
Yeah.
You all set?
Yeah.
Okay. Jane.
this next one. Does everyone have one?
Everybody have a copy? Okay.
Don't know if I remember.
It's not Lisa, it's not Sam, it's not that.
Could be Beth.
What are you talking about for the
Beth here.
definite, definite? Oh, which one are you talking about? You're talking about the daycare?
No,
Oh,
just curious.
Or Danielle.
Yeah, just curious, that's, I don't know who it is.
But I
well, great job, Dee.
Yes.
Want to make a motion?
Has everybody had a chance to take a look? Everybody had any questions,
Just
comments?
very thorough, I haven't got.
Hopefully no additions?
But just one, maybe correction, the liaison, Joan Howard, she wasn't here last month because she's no longer our
Right?
liaison.
Correct. Yes, so she wasn't absent, she's no longer attending. So we could either remove her altogether or mention that again. Until we haven't decided or figured out how
Yeah.
to replace her or what
Yeah.
to do about that, so. Something maybe for next time.
I think we had talked about maybe having somebody from the board.
We did.
I thought we nominated JD.
No, we didn't. I talked to the South Shore Elder Services and asked them to nominate somebody to come over who lives in Scituate. They haven't done that.
Oh.
They haven't done that yet either, so. Anybody have any questions, comments? With one, correction to delete, Joan Powers from that area. And do I hear a motion to approve the minutes?
I move that we approve the minutes.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Minutes from the October 12th meeting approved, thank you very much. Now we jump right into director's
Okay,
report.
I can do mine. We can go to Erica if you want before the other staff reports. Just on a couple of general notes, I don't know if people had seen, we've been featured a couple of times in the Patriot Ledger,
Yeah.
which is Sue Scheibel's column, so we love her. But the second one most recently was on Bruno Richter, who is a pretty amazing guy. And when she'd been here talking with all of the women from, mostly women from Cherioga, he was missing. And they really were lauding him and all the things he does and how active he is and how congenial and what a great addition sort of he is to their group and the activities. So Sue hunted him down and did an interview on him, and it was very nice. So I do have a copy if anyone hasn't seen it, but he's 92, he still skis. We talked about him. Oh, I mean Banff and Whistler, I mean, not just a little skiing, a lot of skiing. But even more than that, he's super active.
It actually was in the coastal Mariner too.
He did, yeah.
Yeah.
Bruno
Bruno
Richter
Richter.
is his name. So, and then, JD, maybe you sent this to everybody, but of course he sent it to me because he saw it first about the article also by Sue on the Weymouth Senior Center having to restrict their registrations because people were literally lining up at 7 a.m. to try to be the first ones
In line, outside the building, right?
for their programs. And I think it rang a little bit like, it's a little like what we're doing, not as bad maybe. Theirs is a much bigger town, it's only one senior center, and Weymouth is a city, I mean, it's big.
Yeah, it's 55,
But
55,000.
They are now restricting it to Weymouth residents first. If it's not filled in 3 days, then they open it up to other people. And the article went into some other things, but that's one of their remedies. So, but we feel it, we feel it some days, you know, those of you who don't around, you know, can be really stressful. Trying to be fair, trying to, and right now we aren't restricting, it is really just first come, first served. We do try to set some guidelines and appeal to people's, so, you know, sort of consideration for others sometimes, but otherwise not yet. But it could be going that way, because I'm sure we're not the only ones, Weymouth obviously is not.
Do you keep track of how many people attend like the luncheons and like
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
the,
yeah.
the art program that Art uses?
Oh, we could, I mean, as long as we have attendance, then we know where they live, and we could do that. I haven't necessarily done that percentage-wise, occasionally I could go back, I've done it for pickleball, different things, but surprisingly, it's not as much as sometimes it feels like. It really is primarily Scituate,
Yeah.
but, you know, it's there, and usually we're happy to have our local people coming in for various things. But anyway, it could be a trend, and it's just, at least we're seeing something similar, if not even worse than what we're experiencing. I have my budget presentations. I was mentioning the select board heard from the town administrator and the finance director last night, which I didn't see. But we'd had a short department head meeting, so he could alert us to what he was presenting. And the numbers are a little grim, really. So, as you know, I was asking for positions. He was not recommending anyone get new positions. So,
Really?
but we still go before the select board, and I still make my pitch. And even with the advisory committee, I still make my pitch, and maybe they'll be convinced otherwise, and maybe that's, so it's up to us, sort of, to lay the groundwork. But mine is November 16th with the advisory committee, that is next Thursday night, and then I had to push mine out for the select board to December 19th, so they'll be in a festive Christmas mood, I'm sure.
Giving, that'd be a giving.
Maybe. I know Jim told me there'd be no more money left when I got there, but,
Did they say why?
because there's no money.
Well, I know there's no money, but why?
Oh, so, yeah, it just really isn't revenues coming into the town
Town,
and everything
Well,
going
not
up.
We
here.
have a lot of new
With all the
residents
new real
and
estate
building
and all the
and all
new
that.
apartment
You know,
buildings.
that's funny you mentioned that, so, and pardon me, I can't speak intelligently about that, but yes, the developments that have been in place, so there was money coming in. Now, I mean, it is taxpayer money, yes, but whatever was helping to bring more of that in, that's settled. That's sort of status quo, whatever that might mean. And other new developments are not yet on the block, so there's something about that money, that's significant, what you're mentioning. It's not like they're here and now forever we're having this extra income, it's not really that. It just gets rolled into the tax base, and I don't know, so I guess I
But-
can't really,
But if it goes from here to here and
Right.
stays here,
Right.
it's still,
I don't know. I don't know, we'll have to
I
go
mean,
back
it's
and watch
it's
that.
just like other areas are getting more money,
Well-
is that it?
Expenses are outweighing revenue for the town. Right. So for any, ostensibly for any new positions, it would maybe be an override. That, you know, would be hard.
It'd be tough.
But anyway, so that's the grim picture, whether there's other things they can do, I don't know. So we'll see. Obviously, 14 positions were requested. I think they're counting mine as 3, which really was only 2, but, so we'll see.
May I ask what,
What were
position?
mine? So assistant director position and a part-time activities media assistant. But the third that they're sort of counting, not to say against me, but is maybe an adjustment to outreach or an increase or a part-time social worker or something in regard to that. I did sort of put some scenarios in. I didn't really outright ask for the position, I just said we need to make a change somehow.
I mean, I could attend both or either if it can be helpful to provide support.
Yes, please do.
I was gonna ask when, after when she gets up to talk, if you're having problems holding on to workers and trying to upgrade it to, study, if she could do the supervision, that'd be a real carrot to get people to want to come and work. Because the MSW needs 3 years post-masters supervised experience before they're gonna apply
I'm
for
sure
the
I
next
do that with all her free time.
I'm open to yes, so, I mean, maybe, giving an hour of supervision might take off work off my plate.
Yeah.
Being creative with ideas, so I appreciate your suggestion.
Very good. So, all right, well, we'll talk a little bit more about that in a couple of minutes. Jill and myself went to some active shooter training with the police department, which was eye-opening and helpful, doesn't hurt. And then a group of them came back, we did at the library, but then they came back here to sort of walk through everything and just note the exits with us, and we've been reviewing, make sure all the panic buttons work and where they are, and they felt like we were well set up for if that were to occur, and there's differences between whether you stay and barricade or whether you go if you have that opportunity. And so it's crazy stuff, but we've done it.
How many panic buttons do we have in the building?
I think the number is 5, just reviewed them.
Okay.
Front desk, myself,
Your office, right?
2 or 3 in outreach, actually each one, and the conference room in outreach, so that's 3. Veterans, that's actually 6.
Okay.
So the one in the reception area is back.
It is.
It is, okay.
It is affixed to under
Oh,
the
okay.
counter, but a little bit hopefully out of the way, because that's where they,
So
Because it
what
fell
is-
off for a while.
Yeah.
That's why I
right.
asked.
What is the plan if you have an active shooter come into the building?
If you are in a, well, and the one sort of, I think, flaw for us was the communication piece, so we don't have an intercom, we don't have a, big
Right.
loudspeaker that could shout anything. I mean, really, literally, it would be just be by voice or potentially cell phone text, if you knew that. So that's a little worrisome, I guess, but like I said, at that, if you're in a classroom, you barricade, they suggested certain walls, for instance, this wall, because they really can't see in the, they can see there in the door,
Right.
but they can't see back here. So those are the kinds of things that we would need to,
Do we have
Convey.
cameras on each
We do have
floor,
cameras,
so that
yes.
you're able to monitor what's
we
going
do.
on?
And the
in the
panic button, when used, the cameras are automatically
Yeah.
being seen when the panic button goes off, so they can see the front desk if that button is pressed, or wherever it might be. The cameras are in the hallways, more or less, one each end of the hallway, at least.
And they don't have like, some of the home setups have like a ring doorbell and a ring, all that kind of stuff. And not only do they give you a visual, but they're able to talk,
Right.
so you'd be able to speak to
Well,
the whole
So
place.
we don't
Do
have,
you want to speak to an active shooter?
oh, no, he's just saying like to the
Oh.
dispatch, right?
Well, no, I was actually thinking about the building somehow, because you said there's no way to raise an alarm within the building to let people know to shelter in place,
Right.
and close
Right.
the door.
So,
I'm wondering, do you think the police would be open just so that they can answer some of these questions, like to have them come in?
they could, if people were that interested, they'd be happy to. One of the guys that did it, or women would be happy to.
They're good questions, and the police, I felt it was helpful to hear.
Oh, yes.
So,
The one thing I think we should maybe get that would help alleviate some of the lack of communication was walkie-talkies maybe, and have them in each classroom. They need to just sit there and be charged,
Mhm.
and if anybody did need to communicate, then they could.
Mhm.
But Erica's right, they did a nice presentation and gave some tips for it, and then looked here to make sure. I mean, if it was the lunchroom or the cafe, the doors are there, and people could go out there. But otherwise up here, it's a little bit more.
And so is the plan for people to close the door and lock it? And who's gonna have the key that's going to allow them to lock it?
It's not a lock, it's a, something from the
Okay.
inside.
Manual.
There is a key, yes, a master key, which I have,
But, so whoever's in the room will be able to close the door?
but lock it, close and lock, and also unlock from the inside when
Yeah, but-
people
Very good.
And so a glass door isn't gonna stop anybody.
Not necessarily, it's just, it's a time, preventer.
Do the patron, forgive me if I missed something, but do they know this to go against?
No, the
No.
patrons do not, so
Yeah.
whether we wanna have some kind of a drill, we
Nobody
did
knows.
ask him that, they felt that it was enough for us to know and give those instructions. Maybe that's not really true because we're not with the people in the classrooms necessarily, so it could be something that we go through. Funny enough, with the accreditation, which I was mentioning soon, she asked if we'd done a fire drill, which we haven't, and she was putting that in the report actually, that we haven't done that, and that she was suggesting that needed to be done, so I thought it could all get rolled in together,
Yes,
Mhm.
yes.
so
So
we would try that.
maybe
Yeah.
We need it.
would it make some sense to do a video and every instructor slash group leader has to
Mhm.
watch the video to
Mhm.
become oriented?
That's a good suggestion, that's a good
Just so that,
You've
not
got-
to alarm the whole
You've got multiple
population.
people that at least have a vague idea.
Yeah,
Even the fire alarm, I thought of it the other day with the yacht program.
Yeah,
You know, and not everyone, it's different here, it's huge to capacity. But not everybody is as mobile as the next person next to them, in case of emergency.
well, I'd like to think that we'd have enough time in that case to simply say to the whole room, you can go out this door, this is
Open those
a safe
doors.
exit, they're right there, if not going all
It's
the way
great
through the
that those
front door,
doors are
but
there.
we have multiple exits, which aren't open, so that's a big thing, is that our egress is multiple, but the access is not. So the only doors anyone else could come in is the front door or the back door.
But what's unfortunate is no universal communication at all
Right.
Yeah,
from, it's scary.
that intercom.
Just not something we thought of.
If somebody simply loses their keys and you determine whose
Yeah.
keys they are, you have to walk around the building and try and find them.
Or cars taking up
Because
two
you can't
spaces,
say-
or,
What's the keys at the front desk?
Yes, it is unfortunate, I wish we did have a little PA system. If everybody is in the dining room area, we have the microphone there, and at least then we can find it.
I didn't need it in the old building.
But we'll look into that maybe.
But is there anything that you could use that at least would be loud if you went in a hallway? To speak,
Well,
somebody that was
Bullhorn.
the super, something of that idea,
I mean, yeah, the old fashioned way, yes, we could get that.
Because, in the recent things that happened, one of the things was really lack of communication. It's just
can't
scary,
remember what story that was in a recent,
remember?
news article.
Yeah,
Oh, well, it is scary, so I know it's hit
it's
home.
bad enough, but you know what I mean, if you could have just one thing like communication's a big thing then, Just a thought.
One of the problems in that situation, and I don't even remember where it was. or
I don't either,
whatever.
but I remember it hit me,
Yes,
how-
yeah.
senseless, you know what I mean, with a big crisis.
Was it a fire or was it a shooter?
Should've.
The shooter in Maine.
Oh,
Right?
okay, yes, I think it might have been.
Oh, yeah.
But the problem was, well, I think it might have been a different one, because
Oh.
if I understood,
Isn't it awful?
Too many.
There's so
Yeah.
many.
that part of the problem was that there were staff in the building, but they were all down like in the office area.
Yes.
And then this thing took place,
Ah.
and there was no word going out to the people to do anything.
Well, I think Linda made a good suggestion with the walkie-talkies, so.
Well, that came up as one idea, and that's an accessible idea, it's just that,
Yeah.
anything else, I don't even know how we would
Like to
approach
put
it
an
at this
intercom
point.
system in now, how
No.
much that would
I don't
cost.
know,
I mean, all things are possible,
I
right?
would think they would be somewhat wireless, wouldn't they?
Yes,
I'm
they
sure
would
that
be.
they probably could
Yeah.
do a wireless
Like a
system.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how much that would be. I mean, it's not like you have that many rooms.
No, that would be fine. I'll look into it, maybe for next. Anyway, all right, well, more to come on that then, and we'll look into the suggestions that people have made, thank you. We've got a wonderful art exhibit downstairs again and upstairs, so Terry Coleman is the artist name that's downstairs, lovely woman, printmaker, painter, and we did schedule a reception for her, Meet the Artist, which we're going to try during the day in the afternoon instead of an evening one, just with the darkness, it seemed like a nice idea. So on a Thursday afternoon after lunch, which is, like I said, November 30th. We have Skip DeBrusque up here, so this is a little bit loose, and we'll see if sometimes the primary exhibitor might need the upstairs space, but if not, we like to keep the walls filled, and we may ask more of sort of student painters, adult student painters, or others that are connected to the senior center and see how it goes. But Skip will be here for a couple of months, and I think he's got very nice work, and I think I talked last time about the couple of artists, or 3 artists from Susan's grief group who had just very quickly responded to our need to have something on the walls for our visitor, and they were beautiful, so that was great. So that might turn into something more too, so we did that. Social day program update, so Kelly from Transportation currently is filling in now that Jen has left, so the Monday and Wednesday group, she's done it now this week. And
Sorry.
the other news, that's okay, we have posted last Friday for the social day position, and I did wait maybe a little too long before posting because I knew Kelly was a little bit interested, but also interested in outreach, so I just didn't know how that might work. We didn't really have the job she was proposing, so she sort of was going to have to make a little choice if she was interested. Actually, she was interested in the outreach job, so we had interviewed, I'm jumping ahead in my report, but we interviewed a few, as well as Kelly, and we are giving her the position, which means now we will have a vacancy in transportation yet again.
So Kelly's moving down.
So Kelly is moving to outreach.
And is she gonna continue to juggle that and social day?
No,
Okay.
so for the time being, she is interim social day. If we do not get quick response for people that we could interview, we'll start to look at either how long that can go on, because I don't know how long it should really, and outreach is busy, needless to say, so if we have her, we probably want her to start to transition at least in 2 weeks or so. But that sort of remains to be seen, so we can move her in or over whenever. If we need to suspend or, take back a day or something, we'll have to work on that. Or maybe there'll be another volunteer who's interested in filling in social day in the interim. But, so right now, she is doing it. We're a couple of weeks away, at least from the transition, officially or formally. But we have posted now, actually, the transportation job as of Tuesday, I believe.
Good.
And last week, we posted the social day program job. So social day right now is 2 days, approximately 14, 15 hours, and the transportation job is 35 hours. We do have someone that we know will interview for that, because they interviewed for outreach, and we thought of them for this one, but we'll see.
And I will add that I think Kelly is gonna be a good fit for the outreach worker
Good.
position.
She's really good.
Yeah.
She's got a great personality.
Yeah. And she stepped in big time, and is so great with, residents who are struggling with mental health issues, et cetera.
So she not only did a great job with the transportation piece, but really went and took that a little further, which
Yeah.
really did become outreach for what we had asked her to do, or even on her own initiative, she was able to do.
She's eager to learn
Yeah.
above and beyond, so I support.
There was certainly not anyone before us more qualified necessarily, so.
So now you're gonna look for
No.
transportation plus still the day.
Yeah. And she'll be here to help out with that as well, which is nice. So, changes. What's the adage? The only thing certain is change. Moving on then, thank you. I know Jess mentions more numbers in her report for activities for the open house, as well as, of course, the health fair. Thanks to everyone who pitched in, helped, came, whatever it was. But the open house was successful for a first time, and I think light marketing, advertising. But certainly if we went a little further with that into the community, I'm sure we'd get much more. People were very thrilled that we did it, honestly, on a Saturday.
And there was a fair in North Situate, so
And-
that took some of your traffic away.
Sure did.
That was Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah, could have, but you know, we weren't unhappy, and those of you who were here, you saw, people were glad for us to do it. So I do think at least twice a year, we should probably do something like that. Or we have a few other creative ideas for bringing people in different ways that might be.
People seem pleased with the open house though.
I agree. So thank you. I was actually trying to get a report that just said how many people we signed up that day, and for some reason I really wasn't getting it. Some came in brand new and became members, but some were already in the system, they just either didn't realize it or had become part of the system but just not really come in. So we had a little of both, but we actually signed up 83 members for the month of October, which is
That's
pretty
awesome.
good.
That's a lot.
I mean, if we went and
People like
looked
to
at
be
that for all
shown
the
them.
months, pardon me?
You know, people like to be shown too.
They do.
Sometimes, you know, one thing's signing up on your own,
Mhm.
you know, it's a nice gesture.
It's true. It's absolutely true. It's always a little awkward. People just come in and say, well, I haven't been here before, and I'm a senior, and, you know, this is my first time. I mean, you know, it takes something for them to come in, especially by themselves.
I will say, one of my clients that I work with came
Uh-huh.
to that event, and she was hesitant about coming, you know, specifically because of her mental health issues and how it deters her and isolates her, so
Mhm.
she came,
Mhm.
so it was a good thing for her.
So,
Yeah.
it was a good setting or a good
Yeah.
I mean, I'll say, all the people that I took on the tour, I actually walked 5 miles that day.
You
Oh my
did?
goodness.
Stop it.
Yeah, just doing tours.
Oh,
At
wow.
the end, I got home, I went, oh my God, I put in 5.3 miles of doing tours.
How many hours?
I don't know how many hours I was
It was
there.
only
I was the last one.
3.
But everybody was so impressed with the building and all the stuff that's going on. It was actually uplifting to, you know, sort of like reinforcement, like, wow, we really are as good as we say we are.
Yeah. Well, that's.
People were really impressed.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Well, good segue then, because although I don't have any official word to announce, which I was really hoping I might have, thank you all for also participating with Sandy in the meetings, or, you know, some of the discussions with our peer reviewer for the accreditation. She had a good couple of days. She was happy with what she found. She had told me before she left that she would recommend full accreditation. And then she did email me when she said she had submitted her report, so she did that within a week's time, pretty quickly. She certainly will have some suggestions or recommendations, but I just didn't hear from NISC. So she submitted her report to them. They didn't tell me yet. So I
But
feel,
it's looking good.
I feel awkward that I can't, you know, that's what she told me, but God forbid she changed her mind. I don't know.
Is that the standard now from across all council on agings to try to get the accreditation, or is that something?
I think it is the standard, it's the only sort of opportunity, I guess I would say, other than director certifications, which we can do in Massachusetts, and program certifications, that kind of thing, we can do through our advocate group, MCOA. But the national accreditation has been the only thing. Now, some people, some senior centers don't do it because of the work involved. It is a big task, we know. I didn't do it before this because really, I didn't think I really had the setting in place for everything that would be required, so some people don't do it for that reason. But now, and the reason we jumped in, when we did, kind of fast, was because they were ending that model. And then we wanted in on that model because the new model is going to be only a self-assessment, which you can kind of do on your own time, you know, in your own time frame. And it just doesn't have the punch of having done all of this work and having had someone else come and review it and tell you that it was
Each board
In
member
line.
was in charge of one of the standards. So each board member was, met multiple times with their, each one had a subcommittee, so there was a lot of just man hours amongst all the board members.
just
Not
like-
to mention Linda's man hours, but just the man hours that were put in from each board member with their committees and everything.
Most times, I think they recommended it would take a year to do the accreditation
We
application.
did it in what, 6 months? Less than 6 months?
Technically, it was 6 months, but
Yeah,
really
it was
less.
really 3 months.
Felt like it. So, anyway, but.
It was kind of good though, the pressure. You kept
Yeah.
it in the flow.
I'm a pressure person.
You know what I mean? You kept it
Well,
with
yeah,
the
you got a
flow.
calendar you were
I
looking
haven't
at.
changed since high school, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was like a job. Meet and Jess, it's Tuesday.
Right, well, that's true, that was kind of nice, I think we got in some routines that were nice, and maybe we'll keep
And every
going.
staff member was involved.
The other thing is, and I haven't talked to Cohasset either, they were also, they had submitted their application this year, and they had a visit before us, by the same woman, actually.
Oh.
So I didn't hear about them, but if they are, it's also Marshfield, Hingham, Duxbury.
And the other place that she went to, Broughton.
Right, yeah, but they were research, so actually they'd already had it too.
Oh.
I should know the number of Massachusetts, and I don't remember right now.
Yes, but the number of COAs in Massachusetts, 351.
Oh, but how many are accredited?
Oh, I don't know.
There's about 300 in the country, but I don't remember how many in Massachusetts.
Around how many though, what do you think?
Around 30, maybe,
Wow.
maybe.
So it's a big deal.
I could be right, that sounds familiar. But. So, anyway, that's big, and it's, I thought we'd come back on Monday and I'd have like hours available, but I haven't. Some outside building use for, well, I don't know why I put that there, but I'm gonna skip over. The outreach and social services, I'll jump right into that. We've got our superstar here, Elaine Shambari, because she is filling most of our needs with extra appointments, as many as she can squeeze into her week. We still had a wait list, and we're just at a point where we didn't even know what to tell people anymore. So we did make a call to the woman that was also working with Elaine or as a backup. So we had 2 Shine counselors, and then she had resigned from that role, but now she's come back to us for a brief stint during open enrollment. So we're getting that assistance. And then, SNAP questions or problems and field assistance calls are increasing, not surprisingly, I mean, now's the time, but trying to get to those is another concern. So between Erica and people that work with her and myself, and then we'll see, I may talk to a volunteer or two who I think could probably help out, so that's our next step. Also a lot of requests coming in, even still, well, 1 or 2 for yard work, but snow shoveling, those are starting to come in. So that's another initiative, so to speak, that we don't always have. We just haven't always been able to form any kind of brigade or our own volunteers. We don't really have that, whether we go out to churches or the school. But even still, that's always been a little bit of a tough thing. It's sports teams, they have a coach, they have communication within their little subset. But otherwise, it's very hard to get the kids, collected, I guess.
Well,
to
to do
communicate.
the sand buckets again.
We could do the sand buckets again. I did not remember to put that in the newsletter.
So that should be, yeah.
But
What's the bucket?
we did sand buckets for seniors, because they're a little
The
bigger.
Interact Club at the high school, we absorb requests for sand to de-ice, and they deliver sand in a bucket to the senior residents.
Which we go collect.
Free of charge.
We bought the bucket, so to speak, and put the logos on, and then the students were nice enough to deliver. And we plan to go back to it, but I forgot to mention that. So what we would do is put it in the newsletter or put it out in some communication, and people would let us know if they wanted that, and then the kids would deliver to them with the sand.
Snow shoveling would be really good.
But snow shoveling would be good, I don't know what to say about that. So that's something that we have to put our heads together about.
There's
and-
always
I can't remember doing the paperwork.
barriers to volunteer stuff, so it sounds like a great idea, and it's not as easy as it sounds, just because of liability reasons.
Liability.
Yeah.
So, lastly for me really, just the outside building use, just to keep up with that. So we did let a brownie troop in here for a few hours because they were doing bags for Father Bill's, and it was an easy, nice thing to do, and actually Kelly came for that on Sunday. I did get to go, I didn't mention it, to the only 100th birthday celebration we had this year, which was
Duncan?
for, first name Ruth, but she prefers Duncan, so it's Ruth Duncan Bates, she's a Bates Todd. So her sister, Dorothy Bates Gammons, was last year. Sadly, Dorothy did pass away also last year, a couple of months later. But I'm telling you, Duncan was, she was pretty feisty and lovely, and it was wonderful. So it's funny, I figured, oh, I'm going walking in, it's the same family that we saw a year and a half ago. But she is at Life Care, but she's writing her second book. Very interesting woman. They did put out like a history of Duncan, kind of, because she'd had really such a widespread life experiences. So interesting woman, and that was fun. So
It's very nice.
we do have the Veterans Luncheon, as you may know, this Saturday. So tomorrow's a holiday, but we're here. I'm here on Saturday with the American Legion and with the food pantry. The Voyage is doing the cooking, which they've done. This is the 3rd year.
So what time, I mean, I'm gonna be here, Laurie, you're coming in, Dave, right? So we've done it, what time, I mean, one year we came at 9 and we, you know.
I know. So they wanted to put on the tablecloths today, and I didn't let them. Just because it's like we need something to, you know, we could have done that. There's right now 20 tables. The centerpieces are here, but we didn't put them on. So tablecloth settings is all we need to do. 9:30 is probably fine. It does start at 11, and they'll be here without a doubt at 10:30. So if
So if
we
we
take
get
an
here
hour
at
and a half
9:30,
time.
it won't take us that long,
No.
we had it down to a sign. Do we have enough silverware this year?
We're not putting out our silverware. Tom from the Voyage is bringing upscale plastic,
Oh, good.
Oh, okay, so we don't have to do the silverware.
which is better for dishwashing, because you have to wash the silverware 3 times through the dishwasher.
Yeah. But we have to put out like
Yes.
napkins, napkins, salt and pepper and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, we're doing our plates and water glasses. I did ask them to bring the spring water, and we'll put that out on the table.
Okay.
So if anyone does want to do that you will.
Utensils?
Yeah.
They'll pick them up when they, the fork, knife, plastic stuff, they'll pick up.
They're wrapped in napkins, yes.
Oh.
So,
Oh, so
Oh,
maybe
so
we'll
we
put
will
them on,
I think we'll
put them on the
Yeah,
table.
okay.
Yeah, okay. I mean, do you think an hour, well, you think an hour is enough to set up all the tables?
I mean, it is, we know it
Yeah.
probably is if you want to come 9:15.
I think we did last year at
Last year.
9:30, right?
Yeah.
9:15.
All right,
Keep them.
I'll keep them
Keep
at
them
bay.
Right.
But the cook, you know, he's gonna be in the kitchen at 8, so. anyway,
Oh.
that's all. It's fine. What
What's
else?
Megan?
Turkey. Yeah. You know what, I'm taking
Should I
that
have
for
known that?
granted, I actually think that's what it is, but,
He does, it's been turkey every year unless he
Likes
decides
last
to do
year.
something
It's
different.
very good.
it is.
Do they do
You'll
a,
quote me, 'cause, yeah, now I'm.
is it a buffet? So
No,
there's
it-
No,
Um,
it's plated and served.
Plated, yeah.
So the servers, there are servers coming in, and in fact,
our people? or is it-
not really,
it's
no,
hockey.
they're in touch with the
Volunteers.
Legion, and so they have the hockey team
Okay.
at least, and there's usually a fair number that come in with them who are serving.
And who does the dishwashing?
But we have some
and
board
stuff?
members. You know, I didn't loop in a dishwasher, because I just didn't, so I'll be here in maybe, somebody, I
Why
could
do you
ask
one of
someone.
your dishwashers?
Well, because it wasn't really our
Oh,
thing
oh, that's
to
right.
staff, but at the same time, not everybody knows how to do the dishes. Ian was going to be in the kitchen, and I know she handed me out, but,
We know how many people?
right now it's 135, but we set for 140, because that was the number, and I guess they just wanted to
Remember
make sure.
last
some-
year,
were pulling up
people
chairs
kept
and-
walking
yeah.
in, because the problem was that there was a sign at the entrance, that there was a Veterans Day luncheon, so people were coming from off the street to get a turkey dinner, do you remember that?
I do.
And we were like
Yeah.
running around like maniacs trying to find.
Yes.
The sign
Yes.
yesterday had a big, we wrote "sold out"
Oh,
across
good,
the
that's
sign.
it.
Good.
Because you remember,
And
we
anybody
had
who
to
called-
give up our table,
because
because
they
there was a
said no
table for
more.
all the volunteers, so we had to give up our table and our meals.
Oh,
No.
But I
All
still
the
think
people
you'll
that
have
showed
people
up
walking
Yeah,
in
we
the
didn't
door.
set
that
for.
weren't veterans.
We didn't set for the volunteers, so.
Yeah.
We rearranged the cafe a bit, but there are still tables there, and the food pantry will have the desserts in there, and they're doing the coffee. So they're providing all of that, we're not doing that either. So really, we're just there helping with setup, you stay for serving if you'd like, I don't know their number, and then the cleanup. We'll help it.
Sounds like a
So
good
that's that.
attendance.
The superintendent's office had called, they're having 2 days of training in one of our rooms next week, Monday and Tuesday. But the superintendent, I hear, is coming Saturday, maybe to say a few words, at the luncheon, and also he is doing the men's breakfast in December.
Nice.
Our men's breakfast this month was a hit with Bob Chesia,
He was wonderful.
and the, you know, he's the Historical Society now, which he has always been, but he's got a lot of
He's got-
familial or whatever flavor from Scituate, longstanding family, so he was good. And it was a sellout. And that's it, so I mentioned the personnel stuff already, so that is my report. I think if we want to have
We're gonna go to Erica,
Erica
yeah.
instead of looking at the others right now, we can do that. Anyway, we're happy to
Floor is
have her. You
yours.
know, Erica is social services manager under the health department, but instrumental with us all the time.
I tried to be.
We think of her as one of our own.
I never
She
know
is
where
great.
to start, 'cause every day is different, and my office is here at the senior center. However, I am everywhere in the town, every day is different. Unfortunately, the crisis in Scituate for mental health has increased significantly since I started in 2020, and I don't know exactly why that is. It could be my position was vacant for a little bit of time and then just getting my name out. But it, the need has increased significantly. I would say, most of my time is spent with the police department, either co-responding to calls or following up. We're really trying to figure out the number, which hopefully I can stop saying that one day, and come up with a number, but it's high. 70% to 80% of dispatch calls are mental health related.
Wow.
Yeah, and, a lot of those calls are senior citizens, and individuals that, you work with. So, there is a need for more, help at the senior center for, social services, which Linda and I have both been advocating for quite some time. And of course, there's challenges, with getting, more help, for various reasons. So, I thank you, both of you, for advocating for, more help, in the community, because there is a high need.
Do you want to talk a little bit about where the advocacy lately has come from, that you have
In terms of,
the committee that sort of
The D-
initiated some,
so the DEI committee, Tom Secord has definitely been advocating, for a social worker that is licensed here at the senior center. And, we've had many conversations. We actually went in front of the select board ourselves and specifically to advocate for a social worker here at the senior center. My job is really for individuals that are 18 to 60 in the community, covering case management and mental health issues that arise. And over 60, of course, there's the case manager outreach worker position, and then I would be asked to come in and help with the mental health related situations. However, most times they come hand in hand, so, the need is really, really high in terms of, the community needing more support regarding mental health, case management, advocacy, thankfully, we were able to, sign up with Cohasset, Hingham, so including Scituate for a public health grant. So, you know, that has been a huge help. We have a regional, social worker, her name is Stephanie Saunders. So she works closely with me and, you know, any situations that are difficult that I need help with, you know, she helps with, and any, overload that I can't get to, she's been, you know, such a huge help in terms of, you know, taking over some of the work that I can't get to, because there's a lot.
How many days does she dedicate? 2 days a week to Scituate, or?
I would say majority of her time is at Scituate,
Okay.
yeah.
What, can you just give a general overview? I know the confidentiality is an issue, but just when, I mean, saying mental health issues is like a very all-encompassing word, so can you maybe give an idea of like what seem to be the predominant mental health issues? I mean, is it drug related, is it suicide, is it, you know, what seem to be the major issues that you're dealing with, or seeing?
You know, substance use, suicide, suicidal ideation, you know, attempts, completions, in all age groups. They're happening, it's just, you know, not really talked about. And of course with HIPAA, you know, there are some things we can't share.
Just sort of like a general depression that people,
I would say, you know, really thinking back to 2020, a lot of the individuals, you know, seniors specifically were isolated, which increased depression and anxiety, financial hardships. So I think a lot of that is, you know, coming to the forefront now. Unfortunately, we have a lot of hoarding in Scituate that, you know.
But even generally unsafe living conditions.
Exactly,
So I
yeah.
go down to that.
We used to have a hoarding task force, but
Right.
we're transitioning it to be more broad and call it unsafe homes, because really it's, you know, it's not just hoarding. There's squalor, which is, you know, cleanliness of homes that then become, you know, toxic to not only the individuals, but neighbors and, you know, that could be in the housing authorities or, you know, just in, you know, in a home. You know, it's difficult to manage those types of situations because of course, you know, individuals have the right to live the way they want to live. Yeah, it's difficult, and that is, you know, laws that are in place that prevent, you know, towns and the police and fire, you know, really to do
go
what
in
we
there and
want.
Do what you need,
Right.
Yeah.
what should be able to do to
Exactly.
make a living safe.
Exactly. So a lot of times our focus really is to make sure that first responders are safe if they are responding to calls. So just making sure there's clear pathways, there's working smoke alarms. You know, if those individuals don't accept help, we can't force them to, you know, accept the help, which is more often that, you know, people are unwilling to accept the help in situations like that. So it's been difficult to manage, but we're trying.
So like those would be where a case manager would be able to continue to chase down those people, connect with them consistently, and maybe get them
Exactly.
to agree.
Yep. And a lot of, you know, the way we get alerted, a lot of times are because they're responding to, you know, 911 calls that are coming in because somebody had fallen, or there is some situation where,
It's
you know,
urgent.
it's urgent, and then, you know, you come in and you see
You
the
see what's going
situation.
on.
And then we file with the state, and then it goes to South Shore Elder Services. Unfortunately, if South Shore Elder Services Protective knocks on the door and they say they don't want help, their hands are tied in terms of what they can do. So there are a lot of roadblocks.
suppose, one of your clients was in a situation where he or she didn't no longer could go to the transfer station to deliver stuff and things like that. Is there any provision for how, does the town have any way of like sending a truck in and helping to move this stuff out?
To be honest, one of the things that I wanna do is, have protocols like this in place. Right now, I don't know, Linda, you can,
It's volunteers.
yeah,
If somebody's nice enough to help them, they get some help.
which I will say, the town is fantastic, like,
We have had that
Yeah.
situation, we can't always either guarantee it, or sometimes it's a situation where, well, we don't want the volunteers going in the house, so how much can that help?
How
But
much can
the
they
town
volunteer?
itself, I mean, the one thing they will do is, if someone doesn't necessarily usually go to the transfer station, we can help them get into the transfer station, whoever may be helping them, they have a pass for the day, but otherwise there is no one like that. The clergy, maybe they're interested in
but you bring up a good
collectively.
point where it's not, these aren't safe conditions. We had one elder who lived in the housing authority, and he wasn't even in hoarding situation, it was squalor, so, not safe, because it was not clean. And we had to raise $5,000, to have a company come in and clean it, so that that person didn't get evicted from housing. But due to medical and mental health reasons, it really prevented him from being able to do those things. Clean and keep it clean. So we had to raise the $5,000, and these individuals went in with, head to toe hazmat suits on. So that's not, something, and Linda and I have discussed this, we don't feel comfortable sending a volunteer in there. So, the solution sounds simple, but when you sit down and really try to work it out, there are many reasons why things can't, be as easy as we might, think.
I'll only add that a lot of what we hear is really people just becoming unable to care for themselves or themselves and their spouses or both. And it's a difficult situation to know how to help, and there's just not enough resources, so there's not enough phone calls we can make, there's not enough, it's not a volunteer really situation, even though ultimately it feels like that's
And the
really
resources are very limited, so a lot of homemakers don't come to Scituate because where Scituate is located, so, they're being contracted in other towns where they have, more cases, whereas it doesn't make sense for them to
Weymouth,
come to
Quincy,
Scituate.
Braintree.
Right, so, and then that becomes more, like, me and Linda are constantly chasing, to get help.
It was a little funny, a recent situation, just by email and just with a particular resident, and, social elder services was saying, well, they kind of need this and this. And honestly, I said, well, usually that's when we have them call you for that and that. You know what I mean? That's usually the direction it goes, and it was almost coming to us because they didn't have that
Well,
answer either.
It's been more consistent that that's happening as well.
So,
So then, isn't really the root cause of this many times depression? So even if you had the $5,000 company come in and clean, I have a family member that's like this, it's just gonna happen again?
Well, I make sure, and I made sure in this situation that, if we did raise $5,000 and had this house cleaned, that there was a concrete plan in place. And thankfully, it's been wonderful. Our plan has, been successful. And this individual was receptive to help. Could that be because that individual was risking, being evicted from housing? Perhaps, but, I would never, raise money and have someone do all of that work if I didn't feel confident that, the plan in place would, be executed.
So if there's a person who actually has these, has that kind of an issue, it's not hoarding so much as an inability to get to a transfer station. Is there any way that we
It
can
goes-
get,
It's
Yes,
more
it's a mental
severe.
health,
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
mental
It's
health.
not just a matter of not having a car or not
But-
being physically able. I
That
think.
is a part
But
of it.
that said,
Yeah.
that is a need, that's a
Yes.
need.
Yeah.
right, so if someone wants to go in and help those people, then they've gotta pay the, $2 or $3 per blue bag to be able to go in and help people. Is there any provision for being able to?
I would say if that was a need and we knew of that need and that's all it took, we could do
Yeah,
that.
and we have funded, the nonprofits in Scituate and around have been more than, generous and they have paid for, like,
Oh,
an
absolutely.
individual needed their mattress,
Right.
room,
$45 disposal fee.
and it
Or
was
50.
paid, we got it
Is
funded,
that around Christmas? Or something?
yes,
So
community
it wasn't
Christmas.
us, but we would if it was needed.
Linda has
Community
been
Christmas is good.
providing financial support for, individuals that can't afford medication or to get their, animal, medication, the animal needs, that's a support,
We have a donations account and that's certainly a
We'll
legitimate way.
probably talk to you about
Yeah,
that.
okay.
And so it's the outreach coordinator who talks with Eric?
when
That's-
there is a mental health related,
Yes, oh, absolutely, so if sort of the intake comes through us, we try to triage, let's say for Erica, when we can, it's been a little different now without that person in the position, but if they're able to sort of, or already know about them, and then at a point we need extra assistance or knowledge or skill set, then we go to her, but sometimes it comes to us even this direction because she's already been there and now they need more services. If it's transportation or something else, we can help get them lunch,
a lot of times it comes hand in hand, so,
it does.
yeah.
So once, yes, when the position is refilled and all, they would work quite a bit together.
Which is
As
why
long as she can.
having a social worker in the building that is under,
Well,
the senior center would be so helpful, and I understand that there are obstacles, and Linda and I are trying to be creative in terms of, how to manage that. Because I know for the both of us, we work well past
Right.
the time that we're supposed to, trying to even, get to phone calls and voicemails.
but the select board has, so they've been presented by the committee, the DEI, with, they felt it had come to them that there was a greater need in the town than what we were, all of us were able to provide. So their recommendation to the select board already was a social worker at the police department, social worker here, and Erica, do you know what I mean? Like,
And I assure you that that is all needed.
so that's been discussed by them, I don't know the outcome necessarily, but it'll come up, I'm sure, when I'm there, what their thoughts are or concerns, or whether they agree or are in favor.
And the under 18 is just for the schools?
It is, so it's,
What about in the summertime?
so in the summertime, I don't wanna give misinformation, but I do think that, we have the school resource officers that, are, providing support, which they're wonderful. And the school adjustment counselors, I'm not sure if they work.
Work all summer like the principal.
Yeah, I'm not sure. However, they are being supported, I just, I would love to be communicating with them more, and I do work with families that have children in the school system. So I am involved in some of it, but, I don't work with, school-aged, residents.
So,
My goal, we just, I think we found someone and are in the process of having them come aboard through the public health grant, a caseworker. So that would be a tremendous help, to take stuff off of.
where will they fit, or they go, where do they come in?
So they would work with the 18 to 60 population. However, could we have a conversation about extending that? Perhaps, but that is like the, age.
So in other words, like a full-time caseworker?
to help take off of
Yeah,
my
because you
plate,
can-
because, you know, I think a need is community education, which is a passion of mine, so I know that we've discussed having more education on mental health related issues at the senior center and just within the community. So we do have an intern through the public health grant that's at the library on Mondays from 2 to 4. So we have discussed and open to seniors that need more just case management
And
stuff.
he's pretty busy at the library, isn't he?
Oh, he's busy.
Yeah.
And he is wonderful.
He is.
He
He's
really
delightful.
is.
Yeah.
He's intelligent, very friendly, eager to learn, jump in.
So could he be a well, you need to get the money to hire somebody, right?
Well, he's still in school too, so
But May will be here before we know it.
I think he would be open to it, but
He does live in Scituate.
Wow.
he's, he loves to share that he lives in Scituate, yeah. He's great, but he is busy.
Wow.
And he works, he is through the public health grant, but works mainly in Scituate just because of the need.
Wow.
So through the grant too, we're doing a community needs assessment that will cover all ages. So it's through BU, the public health, the school of public health, which is exciting. So they're going to be,
That's good.
yeah.
When is that gonna take place?
I don't know the answer to that. We meet every Thursday, so we met today, and I do believe, I don't know. I know her position, but she is the director of the school, is gonna be attending the meeting to discuss more of what that will look like. However, a BU class, in the public health school is also doing,
Like a
there's
case
different
study?
projects, and one of the projects is, on Scituate and Cohasset, to really formulate a better way to share community resources, which is really cool.
Good.
It's fun to, so they have some pretty cool ideas that, you know,
The community needs assessment, I mean, once that's completed, that could be really helpful in advocating to get some
Exactly.
people hired.
and that's the hope, you know, and not only that, just, we have so many great resources in Scituate, and not many people are aware. Even my position, which sometimes, I might say I'm thankful not everyone knows that I exist, but, yeah, there's just great resources and different events and things, and getting the word out to individuals and residents is,
So just to repeat or back up, most of your calls are coming through the police department?
most of them.
Yeah.
However, people do know that I exist, and, you know, a resident that I've been able to help will share my,
Yeah.
so they come in through the library, they come in through the town hall, the food pantry, the different nonprofits. So while managing all the crisis, those are calls that are
I'm
coming in.
just curious, do they call the health department directly? Does anybody call the health department looking for you or what you do?
They do, and, you know, sometimes I can't get to emails and voicemails, and my direct supervisor is like, do as best as you can. So I listen to that and try to manage the best way I can, but then I'm not answering emails and phone calls fast enough. And I assure you, it's not because I'm not working, it's because I can't get to the phone calls and the emails. So then they are, yes, they are contacting, and then he calls and says, I know you're on top of it, but.
But,
Yeah. A big thing that keeps coming up as of recent is, you know, seniors with adult children with mental health issues and,
the adult children have?
yes, and really
But
what's.
they're living with their senior parents who are getting older
Yeah.
and not really being able to handle,
And being scared as to what's going to happen to their child once
Right.
they
Right.
pass.
Right.
And that has come up a lot.
It's not surprising.
I mean, and suicidal ideation attempts and completions are happening in the senior population. Yeah, so it's very, very sad, and my hope is, you know, as we, you know, get more help through the grant, and I think Kelly's gonna be a great addition, and, I'm trying to set up different initiatives to share resources with the hope that, you know, residents, get help before they're in crisis.
And, the meeting the public meeting you did have, you know, those resources were great, and you could tell some of the people who were there were really looking for some help in a sort of discreet way.
Yep.
And it could have been for who knows what, themselves or somebody else. And then they just went home with all those useful information.
I mean, my hope is further, you know, down the road that we can have more, community education events.
Yeah.
I could go on and on, so.
Does anybody have any questions for Eric?
you're doing an unbelievable job.
Yes.
And we're very grateful to have you.
I appreciate that.
Just bring some sunshine in too, believe
It was
it.
so fun.
Um,
It was really-
The hope is that, you know, mental health, needs will decrease, you know, as we get things implemented, so. I see light at the end of the tunnel, it's just getting there, so.
All right.
Good.
Thank you, Erica.
Yes.
Thank you.
Linda, you were gonna come back
Well,
around and
we
pick up?
can, sure. You have the reports from Jess for activities and volunteers, some of the numbers, which I think generally speaking continue to rise.
Yeah.
She does make a few notes. Increase in volunteer activities, which helped, of course, with the help for an open house. Board member participation was up because you guys have been chipping in quite a bit. She has had someone doing some extra greeting and directing people and maybe helping out with the check-in screen. So that's been a new addition that we wanted to actually add. And we have an additional, which actually came from JD, but another student or set of students able to do another day of tech time or another couple of hours of tech time with the high school students.
Which I will say is
Late in the afternoon.
very important in the senior population,
Yeah,
connecting to resources.
Absolutely. In fact, we could probably suggest some things that would be nice for them to know and to have or to place on their phone. I've always thought like certain applications for your health insurance or different ideas, so that's something to talk about too. But otherwise, also a few notes, I guess we've got some events coming up. Certainly, next week I might mention November 14th, the Tuesday performance of our seniors sing chorus. So the first performance, it's the first time they're sort of gathering formally, but they've been practicing weekly most weeks for an hour since August. So they sound great.
Oh, I love
Good.
that.
They love it. It's very nice. Bill is a great instructor, guider, teacher. So that's next Tuesday, and we'll put out some refreshments, and he thinks they have about a 45-minute program. So it's not lengthy, but it will be nice.
What time?
In the big room at 4 o'clock.
I don't.
Good, I hope so. The November 16th, our Thanksgiving sort of turkey dinner is naturally it's a sellout. We capped it at 75, so we have quite a wait list. It's all we can do, so that's it, and people seem
All we can do.
understanding, it's just all we can do.
Is that the place where we need to do something in terms of residents first type of thing, or is that not even an issue?
And I haven't looked at the list, we might find that it's not a big issue, we might, for that particular thing, and it is something we could look at for that. We wish we could just do more, but, cooking is cooking, and, the resources are what they are, so, it's a conundrum, really, but, so any suggestions, any ideas, would be willing. Right now, this is sort of the status quo. For some other things that we're able to maybe give priority to all those on the wait list for the next thing that comes up, that's certainly been an idea. We do have on November 21st, a classical piano concert. I think I talked about him last time. So that might be a nice thing if anyone's curious. He was amazing a few years ago. We haven't seen him, but he is traveling to get here. He's an older man who taught himself to be a classical pianist.
I need to get it together.
Well, when you meet him,
All
you
these
may,
seniors and everything they do, I could.
might be inspired.
And I heard he doesn't drive,
He doesn't,
so he
so
gets here.
Yeah, what'd you say?
Public
He's got a
transportation.
train down from the
Oh my
North Shore?
God.
walks to the bus in New Hampshire, takes the bus
Wow.
to the train station, takes the train into South Station, and then the train down to here, and then somebody will pick him up. Right, yeah. And he's 85. No, he's
I
great.
can't even look up the bus schedule.
Storybook Cove is coming back for a day, November 28th. Just so everybody knows, it's a little shopping experience, which is nice. They're very nice. And they have lots of things. I mean, some of it's young person related and nice gifts for grandparents to buy, but some of it is adult material as well, and it's nice. That is November 28th, which I believe is I want to say it's a Tuesday, 10 to 2. And then December 4th, which is the following Monday, the knitters themselves are wonderful knitters who are numbering on Thursday afternoons, like 26, 7, 8 in that room, so. I
Right before the book.
Crazy. So they were here today, but anyway, they'll have just a one-day little fair of just knitting goods in the big room on that day. Last year we did it in the hallway and that didn't work out at all. So, anyway, that's a lot of that for now. Jess has some other things which you can certainly look at and glean more from her report. In terms of Kelly's, the rides are continuing to rise, I guess I would say, but we did hit a little snag because one of our Gatra vans got damaged, which is unfortunate, but does happen. But now we're down to 2 vans, so just so everyone is aware of that. And so suddenly now, she had worked so hard at decreasing the use of Social Community Action Council, but now, we have the one Gatra and the COA van and are trying to manage medical appointments and local rides, so she's shifting a lot as able to Social Community Action Council. Again, short term, hopefully, we are at the top of the list for a loaner from Gatra as soon as they get one in, and it's uncertain how long repairing our van will take. It's unfortunate. She also applauds really being able to use the on-demand, the Gatra Go on-demand service, and oftentimes uses it herself, or we will suggest it to people who do need just a local ride, that it is that easy, and she might even make the first phone call for them and set it up, and it's really worked out so that it is an additional resource even for us to use, which it should be. I think she scheduled 15 rides for them this last month, she tells you. But otherwise, the drivers are great. We are very lucky. She did add a little graph just to continue to allow you to see the comparison, I guess. Oh, did you need it?
This is the minutes.
Did you know?
Oh, that's the minutes.
Did you know?
Yeah, one of those.
I don't know, I thought you had that in front of you, or I would have given it.
Oh, that's just all,
Agendas.
that's just all agendas.
So the light blue is Community Action Council, and the darker blue is our van use in providing rides as well. But activity, just in terms of seniors in general, using us or coming into the building was 8,000, it's basically 8,000 people in the month of October. So that's a pretty good number. As you well know, some of that is the same people coming in,
Very
and,
good.
but 8,000 people coming in and using the resources in one form or another. And unduplicated or just people coming into the building singularly is about 900. Over the course of the month of October.
Any upcoming programs you mentioned? reason that you were hoping volunteer, board members would volunteer to attend?
Yes, I guess I probably have that handout we looked at last month. Was that October? But the seniors sing, and certainly I mean, I think people will come that are interested in the singing and know that's happening. But that would be nice. We can't get you into the turkey dinner, sorry. I think Archie coming for that would be great. So those are the two I would name.
The seniors when?
Senior sing is Tuesday the 14th.
This would be to have board members
Just
coming.
so board members might mark it and know that it would be a nice thing to see. I guess.
Is Bruno related to Bill?
No, no.
Yeah.
No,
Wonderful.
Bruno comes via Europe and settled in the US in Seattle, but he also spent several years in New York running a bank. You know, he came here to be near a son who was in, I think, Cohasset.
Yeah, 2 kids are local. 2 of his kids are local, so they moved here.
Heard the story, I can't remember.
Anybody have any questions on activities and transportation? We should move to Elaine.
Okay, I'm gonna be pretty quick. We did Foss, I'm speaking for Foss right now. The Brown Brothers, was October 21st. Everyone seemed to have a very great time. It was a good turnout, not as much as we had expected, compared to last year's, dance, but, we had about 50 people. So it was good. We need to beef up the attendance next year. And then we have the holiday fair coming up next Saturday, November 18th, here from 9 to 2. We have multiple vendors all lined up to be presenting their wares and what have you. And a food truck, I believe, is being called for. So it should be hopefully a happy event. Get your Christmas shopping done early. And then we're gonna wind down so that we're not gonna be doing much between December and February.
So the holiday fair, you have local artisans coming in or different vendors?
Different vendors are from, well, it's mainly local, they're not that far. Apart, but it's not just Scituate.
Okay.
I'll be there.
Good, great. Anybody have any questions for Elaine? I'm gonna just back up a sec. How busy are you with Shine?
Pretty busy,
Yeah.
pretty busy. 'Cause I don't do it just here, I also do Hull.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
So I do here Mondays and Hull on Thursdays. I usually alternate, you know, Monday one week, Thursday the next week. In open enrollment, I do every Monday here and every Thursday in Hull.
Do you make
And I
extra
add a
calls?
couple of hours to the time frame, so. Here, Hull hasn't been that bad, they're not totally booked up, so if you're getting calls, send them to Hull. They have open appointments. I've been telling people that said to me, I couldn't get in, I said, call Hull, you know, but,
We were told that other towns wouldn't take people from other towns.
Generally for social services, things shine, you know, outreach. sort of keep
I've
it
had
within
people,
them.
I've had people in Scituate from Plymouth and Marshfield.
And I wouldn't say that, because Norm, I shouldn't say that, but people that were used to going to Norm might call him.
Mhm.
He might take them, even though he's in Weymouth.
Okay.
I don't really know if he can right now, but he does do that.
No, because there's
He's in Weymouth.
umpteen people on the waiting list.
Well, we don't know where to send them until
Yeah.
Elaine telling us.
I mean, there are
Okay.
openings
Okay,
available in
no.
Hull. I know that. Not that I want anything more to do, but I can appreciate their need
Yeah.
and their panicking. and-
Yeah, right.
Lots of panic.
Yes, lots of
And the
them.
incessant ads,
Pardon?
the incessant ads Add to that.
Oh, God,
Or
yes.
add with that woman.
Martha?
Isn't that the most
It's
obnoxious
insulting.
thing?
It's insulting.
What ad is
A
this?
lot of,
Oh, it's, you know,
They're all
Yeah.
obnoxious, they're just,
they're all just trying to get you to call.
it's marketing, it's mass marketing,
Yeah.
and the
It's
more
also
people they
like
sign up,
mass
the more
Already
money they
calling
get.
about AARP tax preparation.
oh,
I think I had 4 or 5 yesterday.
Well, I'm assuming you were busy, so.
We
Yes, as
appreciate
of
you.
December 7th, I'm taking, well, no, I'm taking a break next week,
Okay.
but I rebooked myself, so I wasn't just, I'm going to Texas for my grandson's wedding.
nice.
But I'll be back Monday, so doing Monday here next week and the following week.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for Elaine? Old business, new business? Susan, you mentioned you had
Yeah,
something.
just really
you wanted
quickly,
to-
and we can table it until the next time, but it was also sort of, you know, social service outreach. It was in the Coastal Mariner, and the headline was "Scams are on the rise for seniors," and there's just an incredible onslaught. There's a whole article, and the Hingham Senior Center coordinated with Rockland Trust and the Hingham Police Department, and they did a whole presentation for seniors on all the different kinds of scams.
That are-
And there's a whole list of the types of scams, like grandparents, the investment, you know, needing bail money. It goes on and on and on and on.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I was just thinking that, you know, just sort of adding to the list of maybe something that we should consider doing
Well,
is to have something like that here.
It's happening a lot, and it's not just seniors too.
No.
Yeah.
It's, and I,
And Rockland Trust evidently,
Is there-
they go around to different places for free, and they're right here. They have a whole technical financial education program, and they coordinate and I guess, Marshville did it as well.
We have done things in the past, we just have not done anything recently. In fact, it was virtual, so I guess it must have been like in 2020 or 21. The sheriff's department had us do a virtual one, and I actually had a couple of our people, you know, on asking pertinent questions. I mean, we have the video, but it's not the same, it's just amazing
Well, the
how
other
fast
thing is,
the
I
years
mean,
go
I know,
by.
just even from my own experience, I mean, I'm wise enough to know, but I
Yeah.
mean, the calls, it's like almost daily, and then emails. Like, I just
Yep.
got one today from Microsoft saying that my password was
Yep.
expiring. You know, stuff like that, you know, like, when my
Yeah, like what
95-year-old
password? Right.
father would have been saying, oh, I gotta, you know.
Right.
So it just seems like it's on the rise right now, and it's.
That would be good, and then put it on Scituate TV, so that
Oh, yeah.
people could,
I can, talk with him and see, you know, how they facilitate or set it up, just, you have
Sure.
what,
Oh, we-
the grant
Easy
maybe,
one.
so if we can set up.
Maybe the Rockland Trust.
And Rockland
lady-
Trust has been very aggressive in terms of trying to
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Mhm.
make sure
Good thing.
people are staying safe with bank accounts, it's certainly so. Because I see some
Yeah.
stuff from them all the time.
Can you send me the article, I'm just curious too.
I think I have it.
Oh, you do?
Oh, yeah, I mean, I did this give it to you, and that's why I saved it, it's, yeah, I mean, the article goes on to that page.
You don't mind?
No, I just kept it to remind myself to mention it, because I just think it's an important thing.
Does anybody else have any other business, comments, et cetera? It's 7:09 at this point, do we hear silence? Do we hear a motion to adjourn?
I move that we adjourn.
Second.
Leslie, thank you. Thank you, everyone. I
You.
think we're back
One of
here.
these days it'll be an hour, I swear.
Yeah.
Not that we
Yeah.
want it to be, but.
Next
Something.
meeting is.
These are blank.
December.
Second.
Oh, meeting in December? It is scheduled for December
December 14th.
14th.